everybody. I want to welcome you back to another episode of Unpack Your Life. And today I have an amazing guest with me. And wait, wait for it. Her name is Jennifer Justice. Okay. And not only is her name Jennifer Justice, she's an attorney, and the name of her company is the Justice Department. When I heard that, I was like, okay, badass, one, and two, all girl power. And her company is about helping women move forward with business. And once I looked at what you did as far as development is concerned, Jennifer, I was just blown away. I was like, wow, this is my kind of lady, and I can't wait to speak to her.
Aw,
So
thanks.
let me tell you a little bit about Jennifer, and she's known as JJ in throughout the business, the industry of entertainment, I gather. JJ is an entertainment and live experience executive known for her expertise in building artists' careers and business portfolios by marrying art with commerce. Well, there you have it, guys. JJ, tell them about yourself.
Well, thank you, first of all, Jane, for having me on, and thank you for that amazing introduction. Yeah, so I started in entertainment. I was an entertainment lawyer representing a lot of names that you have heard over and over again, maybe even seen in concerts, such as Jay-Z, Beyonce, Rihanna, it's Mark Ronson and Slipknot. It's just like all different kinds of, artists. And I was also representing a lot of executives in the music industry, and I came across a lot of their employment agreements and realized that women were getting paid drastically less than the men.
Yeah.
And, I did not understand why that was. And it started, and neither did they. And, nobody really did. And it started my interest in gender equality and getting paid equally, and really like bearing down into like the differences in business. So, cut to, I spent 12 years as a partner in a law firm. Then I went in-house to Rock Nation, represented Jay-Z through that entire time. I became not just the general counsel, but the EVP doing all of business strategy and business development. Jay-Z had married his hobbies with businesses and turned them, into mass businesses. And I was doing that for other artists as well. So then finally came the time for me to do that. My hobby and, interest was gender equality. And I really wanted to help women. I kept seeing and helping all of these men, make a lot more money. And I was like, I say I was, helping the patriarchy by day, like, helping men by day and trying to overthrow the patriarchy at night. So I really wanted to marry those two passions of mine, the passions of mine, which are helping women in the exact same way I'd helped Jay. It was like fighting, being an advocate, getting what they deserve, getting what they're worth, and helping myself at the same
Yeah,
time,
absolutely.
getting
Growing
out of the
too.
system that doesn't appreciate, the nuances a woman's life has
And it doesn't equate with the same pay to women.
and doesn't equate with the same
Yeah.
pay. And, understanding that as well intentioned as many male representatives are, albeit an agent, a lawyer, an accountant, a real estate agent, whatever,
Yes.
you don't know, they don't know what it's like to be undervalued, underestimated at any turn. Only women can do that for each
Yeah.
other, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely. And support each other with
yeah,
that.
and support each other. And so I started the Justice Department, which does just
Excellent.
that. So I represent women either as an attorney or female founded companies as business strategy, business development, pop up executive as a consulting way, or help them raise money. I'm just constantly helping them get better deals, better business deals, better partners, better investors so they can
Yes.
maximize their worth and value.
No, I totally understand that. I was in the entertainment business for quite some time also, as a manager, as a personal manager. I couldn't become an agent because I didn't have the tenure behind me. So I said, let me go this route, which was a better route because I didn't have the same jurisdiction as the agents did as
Yeah.
far as, the legalities were concerned. So that was a really good thing. But I definitely understood that. And I remember falling into the business and being in the boardroom with people from CAA and CESD, and the talent was there, and the record label was there from California, and I was there. And all of them were men.
Yeah.
And I remember them speaking like this. And I was scared to death because I was new to the business. I was thrown in it by my client who fell in love with me and said, I know you can do this. It's all just business. It's the same shit, Jane. It's
Yeah.
what you do, just in a different realm. And I'll help you through it. And I remember them just ignoring me the whole time I was there. And finally, I said something. I said to them, "None of you live in New York City. And I'm here, boots on the ground, 24 hours a day. We are not doing this concert, this opening, bringing them back to the public over in Jersey." I said, "We're doing it in New York City.
Yeah.
This is where the tastemakers are. This is where everything happens. Why are we going to have them transported all the way over there? No, that's not going to happen." So once I spoke up and they heard my voice and they were just like, okay. And then I had the talent. So I had the main talent. It was four guys and one female. And the reason she chose me is because I was a woman, because she felt as though she didn't get her just due the first time around. It's the brand new heavies. And we brought them back out in 2003 and put them back on the map. And they had an English manager, and then they had me. I was the American manager, but I was the female. And
Hmm.
boy, did we bump heads all the time,
Yeah.
even when it came to travel, when it came to pay, everything. And it was just like, oh my God. And then they kept complaining that she was the one that was causing the problem because she was the female.
Yeah.
So it's always that way. It's
Yeah.
always a tit for tat when it's a woman and a man, or they all agree with the man. They're all in sync that way. But she had me, so I was with her. I was
Yeah.
her guard. So I definitely get that. And they always make you feel less than when you're
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
So especially when you're touring. So that's a whole nother ball game. So I
Yeah.
totally understand that. I wanted to ask you, what made you pivot?
I didn't really pivot, honestly.
No?
I didn't really pivot from anything. I'm doing the exact same thing I've done since I entered my career. I'm just focusing on doing it for women because there's something interesting that you said that, just now. It's like men can always make you feel another way, right? Well, we have been conditioned to think that they're allowed to make us feel a certain way, but really we hold the power
Oh,
of how
100%.
we should feel, right?
Right.
And it's systemic, it's tradition, it is patriarchal system, it is capitalist system, it's all of these things, right? And they're not all going to change overnight. And
No,
even some of the things benefit us, honestly. If they can make as much money in the world, the capitalist system can help us make as much too, right? It just has to be a
absolutely. And we
conscious thing.
deserve just as much.
Capitalism. But the thing is, we can't change the patriarchy now, but we can change how we react to it. So we can change how that person, if they make us feel a certain way or not, right? Or if we allow them to
Mhm.
underpay us or allow them to, we have the power to ask for anything that we want. And if somebody's not giving it to us, we have the power to walk away and go other places. And that's not something that happens overnight. It's a lifestyle change. It's a culture shift. It's something that happens every single day, and something that we have as women, not, we don't have to accept this anymore.
That's great. So what kept you in the past, with just holding all that back?
Well, I didn't really even know that the issue existed. First of all, I came into business and I thought that women just didn't want to be in business. I'm from a single teenage welfare mother. My mom she dropped out of high school. She had my sister at 16 and me at 19, and so no one in my family really worked. They're like very humble beginnings, hard workers, loggers, and
Yes.
they worked and housewives out of necessity, not because they wanted to stay home.
And
So,
tradition.
yeah, and it was like a bunch of women with very unrequited dreams, honestly, and I just didn't want that background. So, it took me a long time to get in, and then when you get in, you're just like, I'm working, I'm working, I'm working, and then I'm like looking around, I'm like, why isn't does nobody
Where
look
are the
like me?
women?
And
Yes,
then the higher up I get, why does really no one look
that's
like
right.
me? And then, realize I was a really great advocate for Jay-Z as a very underestimated black man, former drug dealer. But then he got to a place and all of a sudden he was like, oh, everybody loves me and I can be in every room too. But I never saw the woman
Do you
ever
think?
getting in those rooms. And I was like, what is going on? So it took me a long time to even realize it. Because
Wow.
there was no, at one point there were a lot of women coming to me to represent them because they'd heard the stories, like JJ like points it out, and it's like, wait, what's going on here?
Mhm.
And I was like, I felt, as we all do, imposter syndrome. And I was like, who am
Totally.
I to give this
Yeah.
advice? So I went to Barnes and Noble and I said, do you have books on like female empowerment or women in business? And they're
Mhm.
like, yeah, you go in that corner. There were 4 books at the time.
Wow.
And this is barely 20 years ago. Not even 20 years ago.
Wow,
Not
okay.
even actually. Okay, there were 4 books. They were called, I can't remember one, but it was like, Play Like a Man, Win Like
Yes.
a Woman, Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office 101, and If You Don't Have Big Boobs, Wear Ponytails. And that was written by Barbara Corcoran, by the way.
Well, I wrote that too.
Yeah.
I wrote in my book about that too because
Yeah.
I didn't have big boobs or blonde hair, and I
Yeah.
was not getting what I needed at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was it. And I was like, this is crazy. So then, as time went on and I had a job, I had kids, I was like, it was always in the back of my head that this is what I wanted to do. And when the time was right, I did it.
So it was basically like a passion project for you, and you just ran with it because you
Yeah.
saw that there was a necessity.
Yeah.
I think, well, let me let you answer that. I mean, do you think women are just totally misunderstood?
I think we misunderstand ourselves a lot because of all of the narrative given to us, what we
Mhm.
see, right? It's like, when you think about it, it's like you're really little and you know that you have the last name of somebody is definitely not your mom. Like all of a sudden it's just accepted. There's certain things that are just accepted that we are second. And it's shown to us
Yeah,
from the
you're
time we're
right.
very, very little. And so then we don't even question it. Because I'm a single mom by choice. I had my kids by myself, so they have my last name. I mean, I was never changing my last name anyway, and I was going to fight like hell if I had a husband to take the last name. But my kids deserve a name like Justice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I love it. I
But
love it.
I
I like to meet a
remember,
mom.
like 3 or 4 years ago, I was traveling with a bunch of my girlfriends, and I don't know what I was doing, and everything like kind of came up, and we were having this exact conversation. I said, "Let me ask you guys something. How did you determine that your kid's last name would be your husband's last name?" And these are high-powered women,
Right.
high-performing women. They all look like, "Oh
Dear in
my God,
headlights.
I
Yeah.
never even thought about it."
And
So if
why
that
should
is,
we have our last name?
yeah. And it's like it wasn't even a question. I'm not trying to blow up the whole system of marriage and no,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
legacy. But right there and then,
Hmm.
your history and your legacy is not as important.
It stops.
Yeah.
I can say this to you. When I got married, which I never ever wanted to get married.
Yeah.
It was like 2008 hit and everybody scattered and I was like, "Oh shit, what's happening here?" Okay, I'd done everything in my life. Why don't I try this? And it was with someone, I really cared about and knew for a very long time. So the interesting part about that is I had my own house, my own things, and all of a sudden I was giving up my stuff. And I said to him, I said, "Why do I have to give up my shit because I'm
Yeah.
moving here?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, you're not going to need it. You're not going to be there." And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, he's kind of right. And then I'm thinking, no, he's not. Wait a minute. Don't give
Yeah.
up anything. You're giving up everything to be with this person. And then I didn't want to give up my last name. So that was a huge blow up, which I didn't understand because I said, if anything ever happens, which, okay, we of course hope it doesn't, I'm going to have to fight like hell to drop this name off of me. And
Yeah.
when being in real estate, Jane Bond is very short, very easy to remember, just like a Jennifer Justice.
Yeah.
It's very easy to remember, 2 syllables. And the last name was just throwing everybody off. They spelled it wrong. They couldn't get it right on the email. I mean, it was crazy. So I hyphenated it and I realized, I went, wow, I was right. I was right. I should have kept my goddamn name,
Yeah.
never gave it up because it's kind of giving up a part of who you are also.
Yeah.
Now you become one. And I always say to people, just because you get married, that doesn't mean you become one person. You're
Right.
still two
Yeah.
individuals. And
Exactly.
that was
Yeah.
huge. That was
Yeah.
huge. And I don't know. I think for me, being misunderstood or being too much or not being enough because I'm a lot, I know I'm a lot to handle. And the honest part about that is, the fear of starting over. I think a lot of women have issues with where do they go when they knew where they came from, but they're not sure which road they're going down because not every road is a yellow brick road after that, after
Yeah.
marriage or after a huge breakup or after leaving a company or being kicked out of a company.
Yeah.
Their identity is gone. They're not sure who they are. So, with that being said, like you, I met a lot of women, plus myself going through it. I had to unpack. And I tell everybody, I didn't unpack small, I just burnt the house down. because I
Right.
had it up to here. And I realized, there's a need for someone like myself to share with other women that you don't have to do that. If you unpack frequently, if you realize that there is life after this, prior to that, and you can prepare for it. Because I had to kind of figure out, how am I going to lead other women in the midst of still unpacking myself?
Yeah.
How will I be able to talk to them about these things when I'm still unpacking? So that was really interesting for me. I had to kind of look at myself and say, all the things that I was carrying, were they allowing me to grow, or were they keeping me hostage? And it was the latter. It was
Yeah.
keeping me hostage. And when you're, someone that wants to be out, in the world, you feel like you're a hostage. If you're like sat there with nothing in your mind, like everything, you begin to die inside.
Hmm.
For some odd reason, I realized that it was about breaking free or staying stuck. And I didn't want to stay stuck.
Hmm.
So that's where Unpack Your Life came from. Because a lot of people want to know, where did that come from? Well, it was at a moment where everything in my life felt like it had collapsed. My career, my finances, my sanity, everything. And it was about just being free to be me.
Yeah.
And some women just can't do it. They stay stuck,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
So that's, and I have to say, I was walking around looking like a powerful version of myself, but not rooted in peace, and that happens to us as women. And then who do you turn to? You're not sure. You're embarrassed. You don't want to, peel back the layers for everyone to see you naked. So where do you
But
go
that's
from
what we
there?
do have to do, though, right?
That's
That,
what we
that
definitely.
vulnerability is required and necessary, because no one has that perfect life. And only when we share those stories, even when, people start with me too and sharing all the stories, they're like, oh my God, it's happening to you too. I mean, that's why social media has a lot
100%.
of bad things, but it's also a great democratizer, right? It's like you put the
Yes.
story out there, and where there's smoke, there's fire. Like you start hearing, oh, wait, that happened to me, that happened to me, that happened to me, you
Mhm.
know?
But I think, when you learn, when you realize that, you're not walking in your truth, and, you learn that protecting that doesn't help. It just darkens your light from the people that need to see you, that need to hear from you. So you have to realize that you have to peel all that off of you and keep moving.
Yeah.
Meet people like you that want to help them develop more, because there are women all over the place. I mean, corporate women, women that have their own companies, huge entrepreneurs, and they really don't have anyone to turn to. That's why I loved when I saw your website about development. You
Yeah.
asked all the hard questions, because those questions, a lot of people don't want to answer because they don't want to hear them. They're like, well, what do you need? Who do you need to speak to? How do we get you there? Because they're so busy looking like the boss, they're afraid to let anybody know that
That they're
that's
not the boss.
yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no one's really the boss, right?
Right. In the scheme of things, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's a lot of people there to help you, and hiring them is going to get you there much faster than in
Mhm.
trying to do it all by yourself.
Yeah, and doing it all by yourself doesn't help. And I gather we're speaking about this. What do you think women should speak about more openly, and unpack with other women today?
I mean, I think it's every aspect of your life, all the things you're going with. But I think we do it a lot in our personal lives, but in our professional lives, for sure. And I think we need to be, talking about salaries, investments, talking about, ways that they have done well and not well, things they struggle with, things that they can see that they're being discriminated against and they're treated differently, two different narratives for the exact same thing, just because based on gender. Talking about how the way that, you know, purpose versus passion, and that you can stay in a company. We're not all here to be filling our own philanthropies, right? And we're not all here to give
Right.
away our money to philanthropies. Like, we want to earn money, we want to make money, we want to invest, because that means we have agency over ourselves when we have that,
That's
you
right.
know?
And a lot of women don't take agency over themselves,
Yeah.
That's so important today to know that you have control over that, and you
Yeah.
should be able to move forward and, you know, have a conversation with other women,
Yeah.
the same ilk or not of the same ilk, and
Yeah.
help the one that does not have it all together, and be able to find someone like Jennifer. And
Yeah.
that's important too, because there are a lot of women out here. I mean, they're out here working and they're entrepreneurs, but they're not sure how to navigate through, the storms.
Yeah.
And that's hard. And it's hard to say to someone, I'm not doing well. It's listen, you can look great, you can have all the baubles and superficial things that everyone wants and desires, which is horrible to find out that you really don't desire that after you get there. Um, and really not be doing well.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part, because then you have to peel back the layers and say to them, well, are you going to actually own up to this?
Yeah.
And how do you get help?
Yeah. But a lot of it comes about honestly, right? Because we've been fed this narrative from very early on.
But we have
Yeah.
to have integrity with ourselves
Yeah.
first. And if
Yeah.
we can't face our own music, if you can't look in the mirror and say, okay, this is really happening to me, how do I get out of this? Who do I reach out to? Because when you can't find them, they have to find you,
Yeah.
because they're the ones who are in need. And I think a lot of women become afraid because, you become naked in front of people and all of a sudden you're not who you are. I mean, I
Mhm.
can say for myself, when I realized what was happening, I just came out and said, listen, guys, I've been away because I failed, I lost, I needed to lean on my family. I just wasn't sure which way to go. And I mean, my inbox started. I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize I had so many people that cared, and they just see you for the split seconds that you're on there. Because the thing about social media is you see a lot of wins. And when you do see someone that's not winning, that was, people have, emotions about that. And they
Mhm.
reach out to you. Never, not everybody's genuine. They'll reach out to find out what has happened, what's going on, what's the tea or what's the dirt. But then you have people that are very genuine that will reach out to you and say, how can I help? They will extend that to you. And I think that's a wonderful thing, because when I was going through what I was dealing with, I was I was scared. I was afraid. I was afraid to let people see what was happening. I mean, for me, everything was falling apart.
Mhm.
And I looked like this powerful woman selling multi-million dollar properties day in and day out in a place where nobody looked like me. And everybody wanted to know, how are you doing that there with all of these things that are happening? And, I think it was BLM and the elections and everything. Here is, I was in Naples, Florida, where Stepford wives meet Pleasantville, and it's everything is pretty and prissy and blonde. And here it is, me, 6 feet tall, big curly hair, this woman coming through the door saying, yes, I can do this no matter what you guys say. I'm not thinking about being brown. I'm thinking about how I'm going to get my paycheck. So that was the difference. But it came to a point where I felt so empty. And I felt like everything that I was told or believed in was falling apart.
Mhm.
And that was a hard pill for me to swallow. So the only thing I could think of is get out and restart.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. I didn't run, I strategized, thought, got it together and said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I know you said in your questions, when I asked, what made you pivot? And you said, I really didn't pivot. And what made you realize that life, that success, what we have been taught about success was a lie? And you had
Yeah.
to unpack that.
Well, I mean, look, coming from nothing to then representing, some of the largest,
Yeah.
most known people in the world with access to a lot of things and money. And it's not like,
Mhm.
I wasn't making billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars or, even, tens of millions, but I had money. I could pretty
Substantial
much
money. Yeah.
do whatever I wanted to do and buy whatever I wanted to buy. And none of it really made me happy. Right.
God.
And, then I had kids by myself and I was like, look,
That's a
I
boss move.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
When I heard
Well,
that,
I took on my mom's bad taste in men, and I was like, I can't. Unlike her, I cannot subject her my children to this. So I, at that point, anyway, I did. So I had a lot of fun though, and I could write a book about that part of my life, but it won't be anytime soon. But I just, knew that there was a reason. I'm not actually a religious person at all, but
Right.
I do have feel that the earth and the world works in a way that um it's why did I get out of that cycle of poverty? Why me? And if I did, then I felt like there was something more I was to do other than carrying another designer bag. you know and
Interesting.
so but I still wanted to make money. I still wanted to be successful.
Yes.
And so how could I do that, and with my passions. And so I was just like, okay, let's just do it for women. I'm still as aggressive as I've always been and ambitious as I've always been. I just really want to help women do it. What I
Right.
have found interesting and good and bad, it's like bad is there was a lot of women who came initially to me that was like, I really need this help. But what I've, and that's great. And, but at the same time, you're like, wait a minute, I want to like start a company that becomes redundant. You don't need me
Yeah.
anymore. But it's really what concerns me and keeps me up at night is like how few women still don't want to help themselves in this way.
Wow.
You know, that it's like, oh, well, I don't know, you're expensive. And I'm like, I guarantee you, I will get you more money and you won't even notice what you're paying me because you would never have had that money in the first place. Right.
Okay. Okay.
I know it 100% of the time I get them a better deal,
Yeah. It's just like taking on a manager or agent and they say the same thing. Why do I
you
need both
know?
of you? Well,
Yeah. But
you
I'm
do.
also saying it sometimes to people who are carrying a Celine bag. And I'm like, okay, but
Yeah.
why do you care more about that? Like you're being so undervalued. And, when I make you, you can buy another couple of those at least,
Exactly.
a
No,
year.
I get that. I
And
totally get that.
it makes me sad actually that women don't understand that they deserve more, and that you don't have to go get it yourself. You hire people to do it, right?
That's the only way to
And
scale.
that sets you on a better path than being resentful about it, because after a while you get resentful, right? And you get angry. And that's the whole thing. It's like men, boys telling us, oh, we're all so angry. Yeah, we're fucking angry. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
Sorry.
you don't worry. That's fine.
Yes, because
I
we're
swear all
angry.
the time.
Yeah, we're angry at you, but we're also angry at us. Like,
Right.
why did we let this happen? Because when I look at my kids, I have a boy and a girl, twins that are 12. Like, how am I not, my whole thing was, I am leaving, I'm doing everything I possibly can to leave my daughter as many opportunities as my son has right now, which is he has everything in the world available to him.
Open. Totally
And he
open.
doesn't even have to try. That's
Wow.
being mediocre, right? If
Yeah.
he's mediocre, and
He's
I'm his
gonna be
mother. I
okay.
love him. I don't think he's mediocre. I don't think I'm a bad
I know
parent.
what
But
you're
like
saying. Yes.
the realistic thing is he could barely try and he'll probably do really well.
No, he could have a buddy and their buddy will put him
Yeah.
on, whereas though a woman
My
might
daughter
be afraid
Nico
to. Yeah.
has to apply 120% of herself at 12 years old all day, every day. That's what she feels inside of her.
Wow.
I don't tell her that. It's in us, and we see it, right? We see how it happens.
Hmm.
And, at the same time, and look, again, it comes about honestly because of our different genetic makeup. We are the community builders. We are the peacekeepers. We are the make love, not war, or love, not
Right.
hate,
We're the
be
caretakers.
nice.
Yeah.
And, we have to get out of that. Like we have to consciously go, no, actually, us being, putting our needs aside for somebody else just brings resentment. It actually makes it
100.
worse. We're like in that dynamic right now in the world.
Well,
It's
that
made
was
it
me.
worse.
That was me. You
Yeah.
say yes to everything and you get totally exhausted.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you say no, and they're like, wait, who are you? I don't even know
Right.
you. But that's our fault too.
And they
We
come
can't.
back you for the no.
Yeah. Of course they did, because
Yeah.
you said yes every time.
Everything. And
So
you
of
get
course when
told.
you say no, they're going to be like, well, what do you mean? So you know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
it's both our faults, right? It's
Oh,
both gender faults.
100%. Yeah. It
Yeah.
is both of. I think women don't know how to embrace discomfort to
Yeah.
grow. Because
Yeah.
when you embrace discomfort, it's because that's where the growth lies. It breeds there. And
Yeah.
we
But
don't want to be uncomfortable.
Well, we are very good at discomfort physically, right? We give birth to children, which, like, if men had to do, all kids would be decapitated coming out of their bodies.
And we know discomfort very well.
We know it very well through our whole lives, right?
Mhm,
We're
mhm.
reminded of it on a monthly basis. And then even when you're not monthly, then you have a period of
Yeah.
years where it is and menopause, like,
Mhm, mhm.
all those things. We do know how, and we know how to do it really, really well because we are the primary caregivers and we negotiate
100%
with tiny little people all day long.
all
Okay.
day long.
I mean, a toddler is no different than your drunk friend that you got to convince them to get home and do the right thing, right? That you're like,
Yes.
okay, we know how to do it, but for some reason, you know, and everybody has a different reason. When it comes to adult, like we're
Mhm.
very good at it, we make ourselves smaller and feel like we need permission,
Right.
and we don't. We all know this, and we should never make ourselves so smaller. It doesn't do anybody good, but it's just acknowledging that, right? And then turning that switch going, you know what? Why am I doing that?
And men make us feel that way too. I mean, I've been in the company of some couples and he just looks at her and she shuts down.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, holy shit,
Yeah.
is that me? I hope that, because
Yeah.
I got a big mouth. That can't be
Yeah.
me. That
Yeah.
can never happen to me.
Yeah.
And that's why you start unpacking everything because it's
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, this is not the way. And I got married young. I got not young. I'm sorry. I got married as an older woman. So I was already developed and out here in the world and doing business and making my own money and I had everything that I already needed when I got married.
Yeah.
They just enhanced it. So, once that happened and you get shut down a couple times, you're like, oh no, fuck this. I'm out. This is
Yeah.
over. I'm not going to be shut down. You're not going to shut my creativity down, my ambition down. It's too much of me already there. And for anyone to ask you to give up any part of that, no,
Yeah.
it becomes very malignant. It's like
Yeah.
cancer.
Yeah.
It will eat you alive from the inside out.
Yeah.
And I think, when we decide to make ourselves small for anyone, it ruins us.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've done that many times in the past, and I
Yeah,
still remember those times, and I
me
still am
too.
like so disappointed in myself.
And you feel sick. It's a
Yeah.
sickness, and I get angry. Like even last night, I got angry, to be honest with you. I had a conversation about things and I was like, you know what? I can't believe I fucking did that. I
Yeah.
can't believe I put myself in that position. And I said, that will never happen to me again. Definitely not.
Yeah.
I will not ever play small. I even said to myself, I'm going to get online and tell people, stop playing small because it does nothing but take you down a dark road.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's one truth about yourself, Jennifer, which I find you a powerful lady. And I listened to a couple of podcasts you had, especially with the one you just reminded me of it when you said your daughter has to act, perform
Mm-hmm.
12 times as much as your son. Um, I think it was called Entra.
Oh yeah. Etra
Etra.
to be,
And
yeah,
I
French
thought that
to
was
be.
fabulous when I heard that, and I said, "Wow, what a great, business that this woman has for young women, allowing them to be confident and go on TED Talks." I thought that was fantastic. I guess my question to you is, what is one truth about yourself that you've been spent years avoiding that you come back
Oh,
here? How did facing it change everything for you?
one truth that I have been avoiding. I would say that I was always a leader, but I didn't always want to make the decisions. Like people will, listen when I talk and, seem to know who I am. And sometimes like I just want to like lay in my bed and, not do anything and
I know
not
it.
have to make a decision. And, you know, like everybody always sees me as like the boss and the badass and the no, you
Mm,
know what I mean? And I'm always like, well, why am I not the like kind one or the thoughtful one? Because I am those things too,
absolutely.
and so I was just like, I just got to embrace it. It's like, that's who I am.
Do you feel as though you want to be that little person sometimes and not be bothered and just shut the world out? Because I know
Um,
I do sometimes. I'm
yeah,
like, I'm
yeah, yeah. And, I do that. Like,
yeah,
I like on Mother's Day when I didn't get out of my pajamas until 1. So
I
it was
love that.
great.
I do that on my birthday sometimes.
Yeah,
People are like, "Aren't you gonna celebrate?" I said, "I am.
I am. Yeah, I'm
Watching horror
celebrating.
movies and drinking."
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, I definitely get that. I asked you another question. If we opened your diary, what would we find there that you don't want anybody else to see?
Well, I think, what we were talking about earlier, it's like there's a lot of vulnerabilities and, doubting myself just like anybody else,
Even today.
because, yeah, huh?
Even today.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course. I mean, all these things that we were taught since young, they don't go away.
No, it's
They don't go away.
tradition.
They don't go away overnight. It's like you don't all of a sudden get confidence one day. It's like I just, there's certain ways that I deal with it. And like one of them is like, what are my other options? What else am I going to do?
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everybody is human. And back to that thing, it's like if you don't share these vulnerabilities, how are people going to relate and understand? Like, we have the luxury as women, like we can get friends later in life and stuff like that. That's where it's like with men, it's like really tough for them. I feel bad for them if they get divorced and don't have a real group of friends. Like they have nothing. I mean, there's a real crisis going around with men and boys, in that area and not being able to show your emotion and stuff. So, it's everybody's always so surprised when I say that. And I'm like, why? How would things not affect me or that everything's just going great with me? You know what I mean? It's
Right.
I'm a human being.
Well, the thing about us as women, we're very empathetic. And
Yeah.
there's not a lot of that going around these days. And I don't think men are that empathetic when it comes to us. They just think, get it together, get
Yeah.
over it, keep on moving, girl. Whatever you have to do. If they breaking up with you or divorcing you, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're already gone.
Yeah.
Whereas we hold on because we have all these memories and all this
Yeah.
emotion going on and the tradition of guilt of what are people going to think, how is my family going to react. That's us as women,
Yeah.
where we need to just move on and get over it and keep going because we
Yeah.
have to look forward to getting our lives together, right?
Yeah.
And I think you're right. When it comes to women, we know how to communicate, or we would hope to. I know for me, I went after my group immediately. I was like, I need you guys. I need you to listen to what I'm saying. I am not going to be out here by myself. I'm sharing this so you can help me. But a lot of men, I think you're absolutely right. They don't have that community because they're taught to be the man. Nothing, stops them. They don't break
Yeah.
down, and other men don't have empathy for them. They go, oh, bro, you'll be all right. Don't worry about it. Keep
Yeah.
going. And it's all bullshit because he's somewhere drinking and lonely and not knowing what to do. And it's right. It's sad. It's kind of sad for them. Whereas the women, we can find each other.
Yeah. True.
And we try to find each other, more than anything. And, when you started unpacking life, what did you begin to notice about the way you connected with yourself when you realized that you were about to make that switch and just work with women?
I of course was nervous, doubting myself, etc. But if I set my mind to something, it is happening. It is happening. Like it's
I
just like
know.
my mind just goes, okay,
Yeah.
this is what we're doing. And, I'm lucky that my brain works that way in a way. Uh, but, I do have to then, get real with myself in a daily going, wait, we got to give 110% and make sure that like that doubt is not creeping back in, So it's like following an intuition instead of an insecurity.
So, in other words, you're not here for approval, you're here for alignment.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
taking agency of that. No one's
Yeah,
going to, you don't care if you're being approved by anybody.
yeah,
You're just doing what you have to do.
yeah,
I'm the same way. When I make my mind up, it's done. It's a done deal. And people say that to me all the time. One thing I know about that doll is when she's ready to do it, she's going to do it and she's not looking back. And I don't know, that's a foundation I've had with me for a very long time. And you seem like the same, you
yeah,
know, just knowing what you want and going after it. And going after it is not always easy either. You
yeah,
have to know that you can do it or have no fear that you're not going to step out there. And I think for me it's not having fear.
yeah,
Like I don't have fear about anything. I just think, okay, this is it. You're either going to sink or swim, and whichever way it turns out, you're going to be all right, girl, no
yeah,
matter what. And
yeah,
I think that with that being said, from the woman that's standing there on 42nd Street right now, I'm definitely her sister. So that's really interesting how they put that woman there now, the statue, the big
Oh,
vault.
yeah.
I thought that was fantastic. And I heard some negative things about that, which was really interesting from some women. But I thought, don't you get it? She's standing tall.
Yeah.
She's a symbol of all of us. It's not just her. Don't take on her persona right there. She's a symbol of all women. She's standing tall, strong, and she's saying, listen, we can do this. And it's like she's a champion. She's championing something for all of us.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, people look at it that way. Jennifer, what part of you did you have to forgive in order to move forward, with all the things that have come into play in your life? Because you said you didn't find peace in what you were doing, and you knew there had to be something better than, Louis Vuitton bags and
Yeah. Forgiving that part of myself that was just seeking that, like, and letting, things slip by me or slide by, like, that I would just, not deal with, that I knew were not right, that were keeping women down.
did you feel like you were settling for less when you had so much more to offer?
I wasn't really like a settling for less. I mean, in many relationships, yes, I did. But like, but it was like I hate that word settle, right? It's like, who should settle for anything,
At
you
all.
know,
At
at
all.
all?
I get it, girl. At all.
So it was more like, how did I not stand up when I knew there were things that were going on, and in particular in the music industry? It's so sexist. It's there's so much sexual harassment, so much discrimination. It's like, how did I not, stand up? But it didn't take me long to start doing it. So it was pretty quick. So I had to just forgive myself when I didn't think that my voice was important.
Wow. That's huge. When now your voice is very important. All women should hear what you have to say because you're a champion for them. And especially as entrepreneurs, I mean, who better than another woman to be a champion for women that are out here trying to make it and live? And, we have kids, we have, you know, things that we have to take care of on a monthly basis, just like everyone else. And especially if we're by ourselves, we're doing our thing to survive. I don't even think young women today, when I speak to them, they don't talk about relationships. They talk about moving forward and how they're going to do the things they need to do to be the boss they want to be.
Hmm.
They're not even looking at jobs anymore. They're being entrepreneurs from day one.
Yeah.
And I think that's fabulous. That's why I really loved Entree, the podcast I listened to. I thought that was fantastic for her to get them out there because confidence doesn't just, like you said, it just doesn't pop up. It's about experiences and how you utilize those experiences to walk in those rooms and know that you deserve to be there.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing for some women. Like I said, when I was in the boardroom, I sat there like a little mouse until I thought, damn it, you're not going to speak across, airwaves for me. And I'm just sitting here like some lump. So that was a really interesting time for me because that's when I found my voice there. So it's not easy for us to be out here like that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you one more question. What would you say to women today in reference to just being themselves and walking a straight line as far as trying to get where they're going and navigating in this business world?
Find your tribe and community to help you, because we can do that. Understand that you are always worth more than you think you are. Never make the first offer, because if you're not an amazing negotiator, you're going to leave money on the table.
Oh, 100%.
And add 30%.
I like that. I like that. Add 30% and work your way down.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There you
because
go.
they're going to give you the lowest number from the beginning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right? I
Look,
love
and
that.
the other thing is, it's happening to all of us. And while that can seem like depressing, it's actually comforting too, to know that it's not you personally. Okay. This is not you personally. This is an epidemic, and it's got to stop, because if women made the same amount of money as men, we'd put trillions of dollars in the economy in the US alone. In the
Yes.
US alone, right? And we'd have agency over ourselves instead of old white men from the South, deciding what we can do with ourselves and our bodies. That's for
Oh,
us.
that's a whole nother
Yeah.
that's another conversation.
Right. But let's not even think about the political aspects of it. Like,
Mhm.
women could not have their own credit cards 25 years ago. They could not get
Absolutely.
a mortgage. Like, they couldn't have their own bank account. This
That's
is
right.
not that long ago.
No, it's not that long ago. I,
Like,
I agree. It's not that long ago. And some women today that have been married for years don't know how to take over their own finances if
exactly.
something was to happen.
Yeah.
That blows me away.
Yeah.
One of my neighbors, she said, I come. That was the biggest. Oh, when she said to me, she said, I come home and I give my husband my paycheck, and here it is. She was head of a huge hospital, and I said, wait a second. She said, because I don't know what to do with it, and he does. I went, okay. I, what do you
Mhm.
say to that? What you
Well, you say, why does he know what to do with it? He's no smarter than you. You can figure it out too.
Of
It's
course,
like,
when you're head of the hospital, I mean,
yeah. You know what to do with the hospital's money. How do
and
you
all
not
the
know what to do with
doctors
your
that are
own?
in there.
Yeah.
So I was really shocked when she told me that. I was like, you actually bring your paycheck home to your husband.
Mhm.
Who the hell does that? Because I
Yeah.
don't know any woman that does that but the
Yeah.
one that's telling me. So I
Yeah.
thought that was really crazy. This has been a really interesting podcast talking to you. You have shared a lot with us in a short amount of time. What's one of the takeaways you would give the audience as far as business, entrepreneurship, just owning your own agency when it comes to all of this?
Trust your intuition, trust your gut. Women have it for a reason, you know? Don't mistake it for an insecurity, or don't listen to other people who tell you to play it safe, because there is no safe, especially when you're a woman.
No, there's no safe
There's
because
no such thing as safe. So guess what? Do whatever you want,
I love it. Do whatever you want. I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm
and
doing
ask for it all. Ask for it and keep asking for it.
and put 30% on that.
There you go.
I love it. I want to thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming on Unpack Your Life. It's been a lovely time talking to you. Can you tell everybody where to find you?
Yeah, sure. So our website is the Justice, JUSTICDEPT.com. You can find us on Instagram at thejustice.dept, on TikTok at Taken Care of Lady Business. That is the name of my podcast, Taken Care of Lady Business. And I'm at Jennifer Justice L on Instagram.
Any of my female friends out there that are entrepreneurs, and there's quite a few of you out there, and you're not sure which way to turn when it comes to your business, where to find funding, or where to have someone help you scale it and grow it, put away those bags and go and see Jennifer, because it won't be, you'll make much more money, as she said, than buying another bag. You'll be able to afford a few of them, hopefully.
There you go.
Yeah. So, guys, listen, it's been nice talking to you guys. I hope to hear from you, see you again, maybe in the next week. You know where to find us. We're on Spotify, Apple, and all your podcast platforms. And this has been Unpack Your Life with Jennifer Justice, and we'll see you guys again. Thank you for tuning
Thank
in.
you.